Hello again, and for today I'm going to be delving into a more common subject that you might have seen either on the internet or on this channel, but I really just want to make the argument and have it be there for all time. And essentially, this is addressing the straight white male question. Now, what is the straight white male question? Why are they so hated? Why do progressives really hate the straight white male? The only answer I really can get to right here is to say that the reason why straight white men are so hated is because everyone is radicalized to hate them. And this is every single kind of activist group, racial interest group, political figure that is anti-white. They essentially hate the idea of the straight white man because they view it as this mythical oppressor that has caused all of society's problems. When you really look into it, it's boomers. But I've already done that video. And essentially, this is really tied into a lot of the progressive orthodoxy. It is baked into their proverbial cake. When we discuss progressivism in general, especially in the modern context, there is this idea of a villain, like a super villain, essentially, that is responsible again for all the world's problems. And the progressive views this as straight white men in general, as a group. It is not a single individual straight white male. It is, in fact, it is a group that is all just straight white men. And this is a real problem because, again, this has been the source of a lot of racial animus against white people, as well as dividing the country along race, gender, sexuality lines, when it really doesn't need to be done. There are a lot of people who have caused wrong, again, boomers, that aren't necessarily straight white men, but no one wants to talk about that because that means that, you know, everything that a lot of these progressives have believed for years and years is a fucking lie. And if you have ever confronted a progressive either online or in person, you understand that they really hate conflict. They are really scared of having their ideas interrogated. So when, it comes time to discuss these ideas, they just panic and they accuse you of being a race traitor, being an Uncle Tom, especially if you're not a straight white male. And, again, this is really just to break down the argument. But essentially, with these progressives, they want to view anyone who supports straight white males' right to exist as the enemy. And, when you interrogate them, they really fucking freak out. So, who's responsible for all of this animus against straight white men? Who is driving this? I would say the academics, but really right now it is the activists and the journalists. These are the groups of people that are working together to essentially make being a straight white male unpalatable in polite society. And yeah, it's a cringe argument, but they should be called out as the real racists and sexists, because that's what they're fucking doing. I'm sorry, like it's not the best argument, but you can actually point out specific examples where said person who is, causing racism and sexism against straight white men directly. So it's really easy, it's really tired, but it's got to be done. And what else can be done? Again, you just point out these specific people who are calling out straight white men for being the problems of the world and ask them why. And again, they will have that Scanners moment where their fucking head explodes because they really don't know why. And the people who do, the academics, aren't really explaining much of anything. They're just stating this quote-unquote fact that straight white men are the real problem in society. And it's fucking gross. It just, base level, it's fucking gross. Like, it just doesn't compute as to why one single group is really responsible for all the world's problems. You know, there are probably a myriad of things, but from what I've seen, it's a lot of people who are globalists and who are also boomers. So there can be more than one thing that causes most of the world's problems. And a lot of the identitarians that might be watching this channel might not like it, but yes, there is ideology to consider in causing the world's problems. If you understand the flaws of globalism, you understand why globalism is a bad ideology for politics to make policy out of. It just doesn't work for mostly everyone. It just causes these weird austerity measures where rich get richer and poor get poorer. But that's not straight white men's fault. That's globalism. That's the fault of a full ideology that people of all different backgrounds believe in for God knows what fucking reason. But essentially, all you have to do to stop these activists, stop these journalists, is to point them out in a crowd and say, why are you being a racist, sexist, and heterophobe to these straight white men who did literally nothing? And, you know, essentially, this is how we solve it. But before I wrap up, I would also like to state the religious nature of progressivism and how the straight white male is essentially Satan. If we're going to go biblical, the straight white male is essentially the bad guy who causes all the world's problems. And that is how, when progressivism is used as a religion, shows what is really going on. So I just want my audience to be aware of what happens when they ask the straight white male question of why they caused all the world's problems. The real question is why are straight white men hated? And it's because, again, the straight white male has been demonized into being the bad guy. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this commentary. I think I have really spoken to all the issues I've had with the straight white male question. And I hope that it helps you out there to figure out why these people are really going after white guys. So, in conclusion, to all of the activists and journalists who are these racist, sexist heterophobes who hate straight white males, well, you better tread lightly because there's still more of us than there are of you. Hello again, and I have very exciting news. I just found out on May 20th, 2020 that I have a paid subscriber, and so as a result of getting said paid subscriber, they personally get a shout out. So shout out to Waterfall Person at the $5 level for contributing to this channel, and I hope you hear this in all videos from here on out until there are more subscribers rolling in through Subscribestar. So thank you again.